All right, welcome to the Hunt the Lion podcast. Here we are in late January 2026. My name is Kerry Alderson. I'm with Sean Randalls, Kelly Sparlin, and Tyler Alexander. Taylor Bars is out conquering the world today, so he's not able to join us. Gentlemen, how are you?
Good.
Everybody's overcome some things lately. Tyler and Kelly, you guys are out there at Hidden Valley coaching, and you've had the flu go through the teams and stuff.
Oh, yeah, it swept through everybody.
And it actually canceled some games, I understand?
Yeah, we had to cancel our meet with North Bend. And
that's pretty bad. Yeah. So we are right in the thick of the cold and flu and fog season, and it seemed timely and appropriate to talk about how to make it through these kind of seasons. So in this episode, we're going to talk about many of you probably have seen the Viral Penguin video. There are some that have not seen it, but it's been around for almost 20 years now, apparently. But it went viral this week, so much so that the White House reposted it. They were kind of using it, joking around with like the whole Greenland and Denmark and all of that stuff. But I want to play, for those that have not seen it, it's a documentary about penguins, and it talks about one penguin that kind of breaks off from the pack, and it's heading up to these mountains where there will be no food, water, or the rest of the colony. And there's all kinds of memes being made about it. Especially, it seems to appeal to men, and we'll talk about some of the reasons why. I'm going to play a clip from it, just the audio, for those that have not seen or heard, so they can kind of get an idea what we're talking about, and you can look it up.
The center. He would neither go towards the feeding grounds at the edge of the ice, nor return to the colony. Shortly afterwards, we saw him heading straight towards the mountains, some 70 kilometers away. Dr. Ainley explained that even if he caught him and brought him back to the colony, he would immediately head right back for the mountains.
Okay, that's good enough to get the gist. If you haven't seen it, you can YouTube it. You can Google it. It is the penguin who separates and goes to the mountains. You could just put in the penguin video and you will find it. So there's all kinds of memes. There's all kinds of theories going around. Obviously, people that don't know anything about the biology of penguins, myself included, have all kinds of theories. And ironically, people are using it for motivation even. So you guys all watched the video. I sent it to you. Some initial thoughts just as you watch it. What did you initially think?
My initial thought was that penguin's going to die.
Yes. Yep.
And I don't know because I've heard people are like, oh, you got to blaze your own trail. But if you're blazing your own trail to your own doom,
to your own demise.
If that's a good trail to blaze.
Yeah. You saw it, Kelly?
I did. And I have yet to see a penguin blaze anything.
Yeah, true.
He did very slowly try to walk up that hill, but
that's right.
Yeah, I watched that. The first thing that got to me was how cold it was.
Oh man.
And I looked outside and I was like, oh, I can relate.
Yeah.
It's cold outside.
Waddling away into the mountains. Sean, you saw the video?
Yeah, I was watching it and was trying to figure that out, what the penguin was doing. I think that's everybody, right?
Yeah.
Everybody's trying to figure out what is he doing.
Yeah.
Instead of going with the crowd and going out to survive, he goes off alone and up into the mountain.
Yeah.
And that's the biggest talk right now.
So one of the things that people are using it for, I don't know. I mean, part of it is a joke. It's kind of tongue in cheek, or some people are using it as motivation. They're like, man, I can relate to this guy. Like, I've just had enough. I'm heading out, and I'm either heading out to go explore and just, like they say, full send. I'm just going to go full send. I'm just going to go check it out. I don't care how dangerous it is, which is probably not what is actually happening in that video. The other thing that people are saying is like, man, I can relate. I'm done. I can't take it anymore. I need to break away from the pack. I don't care what happens to me. I don't like, which is, they're calling it the nihilistic penguin is what they're saying, is like, nothing matters. Life doesn't matter. Give up. Head to the mountains, just quit. And I mean, in an extreme situation, that's obviously a pretty desperate and sad place to be in. But I think on a basic, maybe even a small level, we could probably all relate to going through one of those seasons where it's just challenging, where it's just like, man, I don't know if I can make it. Like, I'll to be completely honest, the fog that has been in Grants Pass the last couple of weeks, there were a couple of days like I'd tell my wife, like, oh my goodness, like I'm in my word and I'm praying and I'm lifting weights and I'm eating the right food and I'm having a hard time finding motivation right now, you know? So what are your guys' thoughts on that?
That penguin, one of the things that caught my attention was before he walked, there was 2 of them. And then one went back to the group and the other, he just stopped for a second and like looked around, looked back at him, looked at the mountain. Before he made the decision to go to the mountain, he just stopped and like looked around, took in his info. And he's like, you know what? I'm going to go this way.
I'm done.
Yeah.
I'm done. I've had enough.
Yeah.
Yeah, you're right. Like, assess the situation. 70 kilometers without food, water, or company. That sounds better.
Let's be honest, 70 miles on foot to us is a long ways. Imagine with little penguin feet.
Those little 2-inch steps.
Yeah, dude.
Take forever.
I think the worst thing a man could do in that situation, where if you're in the grind, is just if you start thinking about yourself, that is what's going to lead to more depression. It's not how we're supposed to think.
100%.
Find others, serve others. I mean, to be perfectly honest with you, I'm in a season right now where it's just a grind.
Yeah.
I got my 4th kid is on the way. Work is extremely busy, which is abnormal for my line of work. Usually January, February is our slow time, and we're just getting hammered with work. It's getting towards the end of wrestling season. I got 5 or 6 young men I'm coaching who have legit shot to be state champs or state placers, and you're dealing with injuries and sickness. I got the family. I got our business is growing. We've got opportunities and things coming up with that, and it's just like basically from 4 a.m. to 7 p.m. every weekday. My schedule is booked.
Yeah.
And if I start focusing on myself, how tired, how sore, how whatever I am right now, I could easily turn that path and be like, well, it's I feel bad for me. I need more. But no, as I focus on my wife, who has to deal with all the pregnancy symptoms. I focus on the young men I made a commitment to coach. I focus on the work I need to get done. Like Paul tells us in Corinthians, stand firm in the faith, be courageous, be strong.
Yeah.
Suck it up, keep grinding.
Yeah, absolutely.
You know, you could also apply that to this penguin, right? Like, maybe he wasn't being selfish. Maybe he was seeking something up there, right? Like, there's several guys in the Bible who isolated prior to something greater, right?
Yeah.
But they were seeking God. That path to the mountain was their sanctification or purification, whatever you call that.
Yeah. Yep, absolutely. Sean, what are your thoughts?
Well, I was just reading about after Jesus died and the disciples were scattered and they were all bummed out, and they went to the tomb and the ladies were like, yeah, there's no body here. So the disciples were all bummed out, and they took off and they were going away from each other. And it says there in Luke 24, as they were walking the road to Emmaus, you know, they talked and discussed these things. Jesus himself suddenly came and began walking with them, but God kept them from recognizing him. So they were all bummed out. They were walking away from the whole crowd, the disciples, they were splitting up. And then it says in Luke 24, verse 32, it says, didn't our hearts burn within us when he talked with us on the road and explained the scriptures to us? And within the hour, they were on their way back to Jerusalem. There they found the 11 disciples and the others who had gathered with them. So what they did is they went back, gathered with the community of believers again, the disciples.
Community.
And they were fired up.
Yep.
But they were all bummed out when they started walking their own way, walking away from everything they had been involved in, community, disciples, Jesus, miracles. They started to walk away from that when they were bummed out, thinking our life's over, Jesus is gone, this is crazy. But then when Jesus came back, he fired them back up, and then they went back, and then they got all excited with their other brothers in Christ. And so for us, it's like we can get bummed out and we want to be loners or go our own way, but how we find ourselves getting back is getting around other believers. And I tell I tell it to all the guys in the youth prison. When I tell these guys when they get out, they have to go find a group of believers. We call it the church, a building or whatever, but it's not a building. It's the gathering of the church, the people. I tell these guys, go find a church, get plugged in, get around other believers so that when you get out, you can make it and survive. Otherwise, these guys will go back to their old way of life. They'll be loners. They'll be isolated with just one or two group of their friends. But if they get in community and get around other believers, that's when you get fired up.
Absolutely. Yeah.
You know, John, that's interesting. And John also was isolated, like the penguin, right? And
Yeah.
when he was on Patmos, he was isolated from all the other apostles and the other disciples. I mean, I don't know how old he was at the time, but he was an elderly person at the time.
Mm-hmm.
But he didn't refer to his time alone as, at least from what I can recall, his time alone wasn't referred to as like a problem or anything. He was comparing his suffering to suffering with Christ, right? Like this is my version of suffering with Christ, and it's for the greater good kind of thing.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Yeah, that's great. Also, one of the verses that you'll hear shared a lot when it comes to being down or being depressed or feeling like you're lacking purpose. Think about Elijah and all that Elijah got to be a part of. Like just all these incredible things that Elijah got to see the Lord do. And then in chapter 19, even after he's experienced all these incredible spiritual highs, kind of like Sean was just talking about, everybody that was surrounding themselves with Jesus. It says in chapter 19, verse 4, 1 Kings, talking about Elijah. But he himself went a day's journey into the wilderness and came and sat down under a tree, and he asked that he might die, saying, "Is it enough now, O Lord? Take away my life, for I am no better than my fathers." Literally, Elijah has reached this point of despair, so much so that he's almost suicidal. Verse 5, he lay down and slept under a tree, and behold, an angel touched him and said to him, "Arise and eat." And he looked, and behold, there was at his head a cake baked on hot stones and a jar of water. And he ate and drank and lay down again. And the angel of the Lord came again a second time and touched him and said, "Arise and eat, for the journey is too great for you." And he arose and ate and drank and went in the strength of that food 40 days and 40 nights to Horeb, the mount of God. So one of the things that Christians will do is kind of condemn themselves and beat themselves up and feel like they lack faith and they feel guilty and they really question where their walk is anytime they feel like they're down or they're lacking purpose or they're depressed. Even Elijah has experienced this. And the antidote for him immediately is get some food and get some rest. Like get some nourishment, clear your head, just lay down, take a nap. This happens a couple of times. And then that stabilizes things. And then I think the third step in that process is really what Sean is talking about, is community, you know? And so I think it's super, super important for believers when you find yourself in one of those seasons to not really do the inward thing like Tyler's talking about. Take the focus off of yourself, get a little rest, get a little food, get around some people, and not beat yourself up over it. That's what the enemy would like to do, to separate you, to pull you apart. So for you guys, ever been in a season where you're like this penguin, when you're taking a look around, you're like, it would be better to just head up to this mountain right now?
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah. And how do you get through those
what
seasons?
man hasn't?
Of course, right?
You know,
I would question the person that says, "I've never, ever had a season of doubt or difficulty or depression, or even if it be mild." So what do you guys do? How do you guys get through those seasons?
Well, honestly, that season for me came before my walk with the Lord.
Mm.
And a lot of it was based around the idea that I was owed something.
Okay.
And I think if you're being honest and you're reading your Bible, like God doesn't owe us anything. He's already given us more than we were ever owed. And I brought this up as an example a couple nights ago with our wrestling team, because it's in that time of season. People are grinding, people have boo-boos and they're sick, and it's like, well, this is where you're going to decide, and you got to mentally push through. And I just laid out some of my Bible believers. We kind of circled up at the end of practice. Everyone's sweaty and tired. And I just started asking them questions about Paul. It's like, let's look at Paul's life. The first time he meets Jesus, what happens? He gets blinded.
Yeah.
Okay. And then he goes and starts trying to preach the word. He gets beat to death and thrown out of town. He gets right back up and goes in. He gets arrested. He is in a shipwreck. He ultimately gets executed. And all he does the whole time is he keeps grinding and he spreads the gospel, spreads the good news, keeps doing the work. That's one of the heroes of our faith. And if I wouldn't say his life was covered in glory, his life was covered in hardship.
Yeah.
And by persevering through that, he did more to spread the gospel than just about anybody. And so it's like, if you think your walk of faith is like, it's guaranteed to be some sweet journey that it just is going to be, I'll always be positive and it's like, no, when you push through the difficult times, the happiness and the goal is, and the peace and joy, you're going to have peace and joy that goes beyond understanding. But it doesn't mean here on earth you're going to have earthly successes.
Isn't that what Pastor Vidlak was talking about this today? Right? He was talking about coming from a place of peace and joy. Hebrews 4, I believe, is what he was talking about here. You can be going through all of that stuff and still come from a place of peace.
Yeah.
And also Romans 8:18, I would feel, plays a big role into that. I don't think he brought that up today, but, you know, the sufferings of this present time are not worthy to be compared with the joys that will be revealed to us.
Amen.
So I think keeping our suffering in perspective also is a good idea.
Yeah, absolutely. So I remember when we had one of our Game Changer speakers, Chad Williams, here, he was talking about laying down your life for other people and focusing on others and not yourself. And he sells a shirt that says the only easy day was yesterday. And it's like, if you have a good day today and things are great and like it's kind of easy, the food is good and the conversations are great and you're healthy and you got sleep and you got rest, you got to watch a movie or a football game or go for a hike or work out, like that's grace. That's a whole lot of grace right there. And if the next day is pretty close to that one, that's a whole lot of grace. So enjoy and be grateful and give thanks for those days. Because really, like, all we should really expect is it to be challenging. I mean, the warning is there all throughout the Bible, especially for the believer.
That phrase, though, that Chad put on there, that comes from the SEAL team,
Yes,
right?
yes.
And the point of that phrase, at least for me, when I was going through schools, was it's not so much to focus on that yesterday was easy. It's to prepare your mind that tomorrow's going to be hard.
Yep.
Every day, tomorrow's going to be harder.
Yeah. Sean, did you have something to add on that topic?
Oh, I was just, it's the penguin.
Yeah.
The loner.
Yeah.
It's just funny because yesterday I'm driving. Sometimes on the weekends, or my wife and I last year and this, sometimes I actually go out and do a little bit of Uber driving. You know, I'll pick up people, and it's kind of funny. So yesterday I went out, just journeyed out, and I picked this guy up. And as I'm driving around, I listening to a sermon from this Jamie Winship teaching a Bible lesson, and it's so crazy because I pick this guy up, listening to the sermon, I pause it. Guy gets in, we're driving down the road, and I'm like, "What's up, man?" He's like, "Oh, just going to eat McDonald's, and then I'm going to work." And I was like, "Oh, cool." And we started talking about the fog, and he's like, "Yeah, I'm just a loner." And he goes, I moved to Grants Pass because family, and they all abandoned me. And he goes, "I don't know where I'm going or what my purpose is in life or nothing. I am a loner, and I'm okay with it." And I'm sitting there thinking, wow, this guy, he's missing it. He's like, "I sit inside all day. I'm a loner." And he kept calling himself a loner.
Wow.
And I was like, oh, poor guy.
Yeah.
And I was like, "Hey, man, there's a great community of people here in Grants Pass. I know the weather does get you down sometimes like it does me." And I'm telling him. And so I was like, "Yeah, I mean, there's fishing here in the community and there's church." And he goes, "Oh, I don't believe in organized religion. I'm a loner." And I was like, poor guy, man. The guy looked like he had potential, but he loves being alone. He said that.
Yeah.
And I was like, dang, if I could get him to come to church or anything. Well, it wasn't the time for that because I'm dropping him off. As soon as I drop him off, on my podcast of Jamie Winship's sermon on YouTube, I hit play. And he goes, right away, he says this, "You know, we weren't created to be loners. And I was like, oh,
wow.
right as the guy gets out of the car, I
Wow.
hit play, and he's like, God created us for community, to be around each other, and he didn't create you to be alone. And that's this whole identity course that I'm about to start next week, called Living Fearless.
Yeah.
And I thought, man, I'm going to pray for that guy. It's weird when you actually do an Uber thing like that.
Yeah.
Everything's recorded too. And so it wasn't the right time to like get into a big evangelistic talk or something. And that's okay.
Yeah.
I felt for the guy because
Yeah.
he said for years he just likes to be a loner.
Uh-huh.
But he said he's seeking to find like something. And I was like, man, I got the answer right here.
Yes.
But he didn't believe in organized religion. But he said he believed in the Lord, but just didn't want the organized religion. So I just kind of got taken back for a minute. And it's funny, as soon as I hit play when he got out, the exact words were, God didn't create us to be alone.
Yeah.
So can I ask a question?
Yeah.
It also revolves around the penguin and your story right there. But there are people out there who genuinely like are happier alone. Like I know several, including one in my family, who just loves being alone. Like she prays and like hangs out by herself and just loves her own time. Like, and she feels more connected to the spirit alone. And like I don't know, I do feel as though like when we get to heaven we're all going to be together and we're all going to be praising and everything, but to say like as a blanket statement that you shouldn't be alone or you shouldn't want to be alone, I don't know if I agree with that.
Yeah, I get what you're saying. Like my wife is an introvert and she has a job where she's around people all the time, which is really interesting. And like I'm the opposite. I've always had a job or wanted to get together, have people over, do things where it's always around a bunch of people. She says it's what fills my cup. What fills her cup is a blanket and her tea and a book and the dog or the kids or whatever, you know. But she also enjoys people. So I think the difference is that it's not something that she doesn't require, or she doesn't like seek out a lot of community, and she's not by nature an extrovert, but she does have community. Her and I are very close. She's very close with our kids. She's very close with some gals. Like, so she is known by others, and she knows others, and she knows the Lord. And so I think if you're completely disconnected, where you live almost this like Batman style life where nobody knows anything about you, I think that's where it can get kind of dangerous, where you find yourself like, you can get away with things. You can have no accountability. You can not really ever share anything with people. So I 100% agree with you, Kelly. Like, I don't think you, to maintain a great Christian walk, I don't think you have to be surrounded by people all the time, for sure. What do they say? Like, you don't need a lot of good friends. You just need a few good friends, you know, something like that.
Yeah, but what you guys described as alone. You had at the peak 5 people in your house. You, your wife, 3 kids. You have 5, 6 people in your house. So the people you're describing they're not alone. That's different than a guy living by himself.
True.
Not having
Extreme.
community, not having family, not having a spouse, not having responsibilities, not having people who really deeply care about you. If you do that, that is not healthy. Someone who is part of a unit, part of a family, part of a community can prefer with their extra time to be alone. That is different than being alone. We're talking about 2 different things here.
Yeah.
I totally get that. Some people are more introverted, but you're still part. Even whoever you're talking about in your household, if it's your wife or daughter or whoever, like they're still part of a unit and they have a lot of interaction. And people don't. It's one of those things you don't realize how important it is to you until it's gone. Now, if you were to go isolated on an island by yourself, you go, oh, man, I do not like being alone like this.
Yeah. There are some people that live in situations where I think, you know, like if you were part of Westward Expansion, you were on the Oregon Trail and you were coming out here and you just had you and your wife and your kids and maybe one other family that lived 20 miles away or whatever. like it wouldn't be a lot, but you're right. Like that is community, you know? And so it is, it is community and it's not total isolation. On the flip side, maybe kind of what Kelly is hinting at here too is we need to be the type of people who can also just have time with the Lord and not have to be around other people to experience God.
I guess I agree with that 100%. And another thing that was in my mind, like I want to be careful of blanket statements. I want to be careful of like all or none, or anytime I hear always or never, or like that kind of thing.
Yeah.
A lot of times that's not a good thing, right?
Yeah.
That's very black and white. And my wife always gets on me for being a black and white thinker, which I am 100% a black and white thinker. But
a lot of the Bible is black and white, but there's a lot of gray.
I mean, there's definitely
a lot
like,
of gray.
I am the way, the truth, and the
Yes.
life. Yes.
Yeah.
100%.
Yeah.
But
there's a lot of things in the Bible, or there's a lot of things in life that aren't in the Bible.
Yeah.
That are just like is just a gray area. You're like, well, I mean, I could see where you would get that, or I could see where you could get that, you know. So I agree with you on that because I tend to be the same way. I think probably all of us are pretty black and white, and it's good to be reminded of those things. Yeah,
There's a good thing I was listening to this week. I probably listened to it a couple times, but this guy was saying, "Man, you just can't figure Jesus out. You can't put him in a box, and when you try to." He makes a curveball, and it's like, oh, back in when Jesus was talking about the kingdom, he goes to one guy. He's like, "Hey, the kingdom of heaven, it's like these. You got to be like these little children." And he's like, "Oh." He goes to the next guy. He's like, "Did Jesus say what the kingdom was like to you?" "Yeah, he said to be like these children." He's like, "Oh, he told me I must be born again." And then the next guy, it's like, "Oh, the kingdom of heaven is you need to be your righteousness needs to exceed the Pharisees." And it's like, what? Give me the one with the little children. Like,
yeah,
it's like Jesus was always throwing a curveball at these guys. So it's like, man, you can't figure him out.
Yeah.
And people want to be like, I got him figured out. It's like this one thing. Just give me the one thing I want to figure Jesus out. Give me the checklist.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, this is the way you'd got to do things.
Mm-hmm.
It's like, no, the Lord doesn't work like that. You can't put him in a box.
dude, the vanity of that statement, trying to figure out God, like, good luck with that.
Right.
And also,
we want to. It drives us crazy.
The Bible also says he is not far from each one of you. That Paul says that when he's talking to those that are looking for God in everything else in the world, the Areopagus, the Mars Hill. He preaches in Acts and says that you search for him and he is not far from you. So like at the same time, you're right, but also we can know him. Like he is a knowable God. Unlike any other God, he is a personable, knowable God. I got a question for you guys, though, coming back. This is just the rabbit trail. You said that this guy said that you picked up that he does not like organized religion, right? Is that what you said?
Yep.
Okay. So how do you guys respond to that?
Yeah, I actually didn't have a response yet to him. I was trying to feel it out, and I was like, oh, shoot. I didn't have enough time because I was just getting ready to drop him. So
Yeah.
I had kind of, let's talk about it, because I had to think about this in my mind. I was like, oh, no, he's one of those guys.
Yeah.
Oh,
Yeah. I can definitely understand that because I was raised by someone who said stuff like that.
Yeah.
But it's also, I also know from being raised by someone who had never participated in organized religion. So it's just based off stuff they've heard. So just ask them, okay, what does that mean? What are the downfalls of organized religion? And it usually comes down to they just want your money or they want to control your life. And I'm like, well, let's talk about the benefits. This is what I was thinking about going to Edgewater, is I've never been asked for money.
Uh-huh.
It's not not pushed upon you. There's no dishes. You give out of the abundance of heart, and when you it's so that part doesn't really factor in here. I don't think. I was like, okay, and then the church doesn't want to control you, the way you act. God has a desire and lays out in the Bible the best way for you to live your life, based on a loving Father who wants the best for you. You can choose to not live that way. And we see the repercussions of sinful lives all the time. We see the repercussions of sin in our own lives. And so we just have to, you have to just break that down. What does that mean? What is organized religion? Usually something with Catholics and what happened with all that will come up. There's all sorts of things people bring up that are true because people are sinful and organizations have done bad things. And so it just kind of gets lumped in this one big pile of every bad thing they've ever heard about any organized religion.
Yeah.
And in my opinion, if we're picking up the Penguin Trail, as you said, isn't that one of the things that Satan's trying to do is to divide, be divisive, right?
Yeah.
And religion is not, I don't come here for religion.
Yeah.
I come here so that I have a personal relationship with God, right? And God says, like when the Pharisees asked him, what's the most important thing? Love God with all your heart.
Yeah.
I can do that without this building.
Yep.
Right. And once I get that part, like if someone approaches me and says, I don't believe in the religion part, that's where I go like, well, what's your personal relationship with God like? And we go that route. And then once they have that, then we bring them here.
Yeah. I would say if you're looking to invite somebody to church, and if you're an Edgewater person, if you're, looking to invite somebody and they say they're not into organized religion, I would just respond and say, you would love Edgewater then because they're not very organized at all.
That's a good one. That's a good response.
You would come to church with me. These guys are not organized at all, man. I'll tell you right now. Or I mean, honestly, like I've said to people, like you'd probably love our church too because none of the pastors like organized religion either. We gather together and we go through the scriptures together because we want to know what Jesus has to say to us. So
I should have thought of that.
Just send it. We'll send you to the kids' wing where it's utter chaos.
Yeah.
There's no organization.
I don't like organized religion. You'd love Edgewater, man. There's nothing organized there. So, but the other thing too is, and it's hard to bring this up in a conversation sometimes with somebody that you're trying to win over for the kingdom, is a lot of times what is behind that statement is either one, they were hurt, like Tyler was talking about, and whether it was the church's fault or not. Sometimes people get hurt and it wasn't even really anybody's fault. They just are very sensitive because of things that are in their past. Number two, a lot of people that say they don't like organized religion actually don't like accountability. They don't like transparency. They don't like community. They don't want to be challenged. They don't want God's word to change them or make them feel uncomfortable. And that is just a sign of somebody who's probably not ready for the gospel yet.
They don't want the light on in the bone closet.
That's a good way of putting it right there.
Well, the guy did get in the car with his hood on, all black clothes, and it was one of those, we automatically just make an assumption. I do, and it's just what we do. But I just felt really
profiling.
The profile. There's the word I was looking for. I was profiling the guy, but I felt genuinely bad because I know for me, how much I have found the Lord in the community of the church gathering. Like how much I've found that when I used to live apart and in the world system, a secular living a lifestyle of craziness, with my group of friends, I knew I was always looking for community. And it's funny, I grew up, middle school. I watched these guys in Medford, a bunch of white dudes. They started this gang in East Medford, and that's not like East Medford. West Medford or South would be the gangs. But these guys started this gang called the Mob 5. And my brothers, it was his friends, and these guys all in East Medford. And I watched these guys at this park. They got jumped in one day. But I was the youngster. I was an 8th grader, 7th or 8th grade, and I was too young. But I always hung out with all these guys. So I watched these guys get jumped in at this park, and there was all these jump-ins all the time. And so those are the guys I hung with. And it was like I was always seeking like a community of guys like that. And you see troubled kids that grow up in those gang neighborhoods, and they're seeking that approval of the community. Well, once I stepped out of all that and started going to church, it was like, whoa, I've been missing out the whole time. I was looking for love in all the wrong places, if you would. I was looking for it in that kind of community. But when I stepped into a church up north called Athey Creek Christian Fellowship, I remember telling myself, I was like, whoa, I've been looking for all these years for like community and love from the brothers and like, yeah, we got your back type of guys. But when I joined, but when I started fellowshipping with other Christians, I was like, whoa, this is what I've been missing.
Mm-hmm.
These are the guys that actually care about me. Like my engine blew up and this guy came and picked me up, and guys from church. And I was like, whoa, those other guys would have never done stuff like that. Or when you go to jail, they're gone. They don't come to visit you. But it was like the Christians, it was like I found what I've always been looking for 10 years, from like age 12 to 22. I finally found it, and I can't believe that I was looking in all the wrong places. So
Yeah.
I really feel for this guy anyway, that I was wanting him to just, come on, man.
Yeah.
There's a really cool community of guys, and there's a ton of stuff to do. You don't need to be alone. So
How old was this guy roughly?
he was probably 40s.
Oh,
Yeah. Yep. Definitely 40s.
Two things real quick on that statement. Yeah. I think the gang, one of the top things that's so appealing about it is the family, like the relationships, And I remember years ago when I was teaching, we had a family that was kind of new to the community, Norte 13 or Norte 13, Norte 13, whatever it is, And they had students at North Middle School where I was teaching, and there was some kids in there, and I had a great relationship with the kids, and I think as I look back on it, I was always talking about my kids. They were always at the games. I was coaching. They were always around. We had a really close-knit family. I was really interested in their lives. I would ask them things about their family and stuff. So much so to the point that whenever my wife or kids were in the community and they saw them and stuff, they were the politest, most respectful, just like they were also good to my wife and kids. And you could see the value in that. And you're right. What people that don't have a relationship with the church community, what they don't realize is like you can get the righteous, holy version of that by being a part of a church,
Right.
And organized. I mean, I guess it's organized because we meet a couple times a week, So, and like, what other thing in the world do you not like that's organized? Like, do you like, I don't like organized religion. Well, do you not like organized hospitals? Do you not like organized streets? Do you not like organized schools? Do you not like organized work? Do you not like an organized bank? Like, I mean, the church kind of gets like clumped in with people's hurts and stuff. So anyway,
I feel like it's more of a scapegoat.
yeah.
It's like they're hiding behind it.
Totally,
Because then
yeah.
I have to actually confront myself.
Yep. God might
Yeah.
change me. I
Yeah.
don't know what he's going to ask of me.
And that's unknown. And that's, I'm afraid of that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The other thing you were talking about too that I find interesting is you said you kind of profiled him based on his black hoodie,
Profiling is
yeah.
wrong.
Oh,
But-
yeah.
Is it? But honestly, like when you think about it, like we'll pick out a black hoodie or we'll go all black, and it's not by accident. Like we're communicating a message to somebody. Don't mess with me, or I'm mysterious, or I'm bad. Like so. I don't know if it's necessarily bad to say like you were like drawing assumptions, because really, like honestly. I mean, when you're in the mood, when you're just in that mood, you're like, yeah, it's an all black hoodie day. Like, it's a black hat and it's a black hoodie. Like, I mean, Kelly's all blacked out today. Sean's all blacked out.
It's slimming, sir.
I mean, it could be that for
clearly
sure.
that's the bad side of the table.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
But as an ex-police officer or whatever, you racial profile. Well, I'm reading this book. I have it. It's called Left of Bang from the Marines.
Yep.
And, you got to profile people when they walk in. If you're sitting in In-N-Out Burger, you're going to profile everybody that walks in. You're like, I want to be left of Bang and not right of Bang is what that basically book. So you probably know more about that, Kelly, than I do. But it's like you're trying
Well, the point of the profile, though, is just to give you the heads. A profile is not to make the decision, right? A profile is to lower your odds of failure, right? So now I've narrowed it down to I have a pretty good idea, and now I'm going to actually dig and find out what's actually happening. The profiling is just to get you there quicker. But you don't make your entire decision based on the profile usually, or not supposed to. But the left of bang part means I'm preemptively doing it, not postemptively doing it.
And it's not racial profiling. That doesn't.
he slipped up on that.
It's
My bad. I didn't. Yeah.
yeah,
that was
no,
wrong.
but like what,
Yeah,
like
yeah, yeah.
honestly,
Profile.
like the
It's
way I would
profile, right.
profile people is, spent a lot of time in Portland as a cop. I could care less if you're white, black, or Hispanic, but if you are smoking a cigarette and you have a neck tattoo, I'm gonna talk to you.
Yeah.
Because it just shows that
it's 3 a.m.
you make bad decisions in general.
3 a.m.
Yeah.
What are you doing up right now?
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, you had enough experience as a cop. You're like, some of these things just go together.
Yeah.
So
Smoking cigarettes should be probable cause for police.
oh man.
We got off on a tangent there.
If you smoke, you're
We
feeling
got on a
offended
penguin
right now.
trail, bro.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We're headed
Bring
up
it
the
back
mountain.
to the penguin.
If you smoke, please stop. It's not smart.
Yes. You're killing yourself.
You remember the whole "this is your brain on drugs"
Yeah.
with the egg?
Well, and it's hard too. I found being on a church security team, it's hard because you profile people when they come in, a guy in a hoodie. But you're like, what if that guy's just cold and he wants his hood on? But as a church security, you're like, oh, I got to watch this guy. But you're like, oh, but we're a church and we're welcoming people. So church security is kind of difficult, actually.
Well, yeah, but it makes sense now because it's January. But if the guy's wearing a hoodie with his hood on and it's July,
Right.
now I have a reason to pay attention, right?
Yeah.
So situational awareness
Yep.
matters.
And I think it's honestly less. I watch you guys. I think it's less of what they're wearing and more their posture. If the hood is on, they're not talking to anybody. They're not making eye contact. They're down. They're walking fast. Like they just look different than somebody who's just like, hey, how's it going? So that's probably, in my opinion, more the issue than just exactly what they're wearing. And like I gotta say this. I've said it a couple times. I feel like, I don't know if I've said it here in this place or not, and I shouldn't even say I feel. I should say
That's your wife talking.
I have observed it's almost popular or trendy to say, oh, the church is judgmental, or, it's like, I don't know. I feel like some of those references are very, very minor and old and not like Edgewater. The core Edgewater people that I meet week in and week out are some of the least judgmental people you will ever meet in your life. And I know there are a few bad apples here and there, but I feel like it's a really outdated illustration to say that, oh, the church is judgmental and blah, 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 and I don't go there. Okay, sure, there's judgmental people everywhere, but by and large, I cannot believe how warm and welcoming the people in this church are. And that goes for a lot of churches in America.
I also feel like that's a defense mechanism thing, right? Because you're right for the majority, but then they'll experience one bad person, and then now the church is the problem.
Yeah, exactly. Everybody there is so judgy.
Not the case.
Yeah.
And it could have been a legitimate miscommunication. It wasn't intentional.
Yeah.
Let's
Or
sit down and talk about this.
you said something to that person before. You guys have beef. You didn't know they went to that church. You showed up. They gave you a look. Yeah, because you guys have unresolved conflict. That could be it too.
Yeah, leave your stuff at the altar and go fix it.
That's it right there. Yeah. So, man, this thing, I don't know. That's just one of my pet peeves. Like I feel, and you'll hear pastors say it too. Like, they're so judgmental or whatever. They're like, this isn't a place where that. Yeah, I mean, maybe like 1% of the churches or the people on staff can be that way. But for the most part, you go to a church in America, you come here, there's homeless people that walk through the church doors at the 720 service, and I see people showing them where the coffee is and telling them they can sit next to them and just asking them their name. So I think it's a really overstated thing that people use as an excuse to just rail against Christians.
In my honest opinion, the modern church isn't judgmental enough.
I was waiting for it. We need, I know. Hey, yeah, I mean, believer to believer, if you see somebody in sin, believer to believer, you're supposed to lovingly go to that person and say, hey, what's going on here? This isn't the best thing for you. So, yeah. Don't get me started there, Tyler.
Oh, yeah.
That's a whole other topic.
Right, because Paul says he judges inside the church.
Yes.
But not outsiders.
Yes.
So
Yeah.
there's a difference there in 1 Corinthians, as we are supposed to call out the ones in the church, but the ones outside
People
the church.
hate that.
Right? I
People
know.
don't want to get called out. Why do you not want to get called out?
I told my story at Wednesday morning, our men's group. I told that story of when I met my wife and we were going to move in together, and the Christians came to me.
Yes.
A couple of brothers in Christ came to me and they said, I told him at this Bible study, I was like, hey, I'm moving in with my wife or my fiance. I'm getting ready. I packed my bags. I got this apartment. She's got one. We're going for it. And I said this at a Thursday night Bible study college group that I was attending because I loved all my friends. And
Years ago. This is years ago.
Right when I started walking with the Lord. And so I didn't know. I was still worldly living in my mind. But anyway, I just told my guys at this Bible study, hey, I'm moving in with my... And then they came to me and they're like, hey, that's probably not a good idea. A couple days later, 2 guys from my Bible study came to me and they gave me reasons why. That I probably shouldn't move in with her before I'm married because we still had like 6 months to go. And so I took that and I was like, oh, hey, tell me why. And they gave me some reasons. I was like, cool. They provided for me a place to stay. And I moved in with this guy from church for 6 months before I moved in with my wife. I just didn't understand yet. I was such a new Christian, but I wanted to walk with the Lord and I didn't want to have sex with my wife before we were married. So I was trying to do it the right way. But I had lived with girls my before
that.
Yeah. But when I started walking with the Lord, I wanted to do it right. So these guys from my Bible study, I had no shame. I was like, yeah, they're like, what are you doing this weekend, Sean? I was like, oh, moving in with my fiance. We're going to save some bucks. It's going to be great. And then they were like, hey, could we, a couple days later, 2 of them called me. They're like, hey, we thought about what you said. Could we give you some reasons why we think that would be a bad idea? And I didn't feel judged by them at all. I actually listened. And I was like, oh, I didn't even think of that. Thanks, guys. And then I moved in with another guy from church. I was just his roommate for 6 months. And so there's some people that would be like, no, they judged me. I'm out of here. But it's just a thing of the heart.
I'm thankful for the way they did it, too.
The way they approached you, though, wasn't judgmental.
No,
it was like, do you mind
cared.
if I,
They cared about me, actually. And I knew that. They actually cared for me, and they were trying to look out for my best.
They lovingly laid out the expectations and standards of a Christian walk. And it's okay to give people expectations and standards, especially young men. Young men crave expectations and standards.
You want some homework this week? If you're listening, study how Barnabas does it in the book of Acts. He's what's called a with walker, and it's real discipleship like Sean's talking about right here, where it's, hey, that's not the way to do it. This is the way to do it. So, all right. Well, today is the games that will decide who goes to the Super Bowl. So let's go on record really quick, and we'll put it on record. What do you guys got?
Oh, I got Seahawks going. And I got Patriots.
Seahawks, Patriots.
Yep.
Okay,
100%.
Okay. Kelly?
Man, this hurts my heart because I just can't root. The Seahawks are the best football team. I'll give you that.
What's your pro team?
I hate
Chargers?
rooting for the Seahawks. I'm a Chargers fan and a Saints fan, and I just can't root for this.
You can't have 2 teams. That's against the rules.
Oh. Is that the Dr. Pepper commercial where I'm rooting for Western secretly?
So you're going
They have
Super
a cool
Bowl.
offense.
Super Bowl is...
Who's your pick?
I don't think the Broncos can win without Bo Nix. So it's got to be Patriots and the Seahawks.
Yeah, we're having a Patriots-Seahawks rematch.
Yep.
It's crazy that they have different coaches than last time, both teams. It wasn't that long ago. We had Russell Wilson versus Tom Brady, Patriots-Seahawks Super Bowl with Belichick and Pete Carroll.
I feel like it's probably already been 10 years, surprisingly.
But for relatively, both of these teams have switched out their coaching staff within the last, it's Vrabel's first year.
Yeah.
And is it Mike McDonald? Is that the coach of the Seahawks?
Yeah, he's great.
It's his second year with the Seahawks. How quickly they turn it around.
Patriots got a great coach, great quarterback. Seahawks, same. They're really impressive. I'm going out on a limb. I just got a weird feeling the underdogs are going to win today. I think it's going to be Broncos-Rams in the Super Bowl. So,
dude, it could totally, too.
All right, got to leave you guys.
The center. He would neither go to
There you go. Watch the Penguin video. Here's my thing on the Penguin. I got to say this for the end. I think the Penguin was going to hunt the lion. All right.
Isn't there a movie called The March of the Penguin?
Yeah, I don't know. Happy Feet. I know Happy Feet. The Penguin was going to hunt the lion. All right. God bless you all. Thanks for tuning in. We'll catch you again next time.